I almost broke my PC into 1,000 pieces this week, all because of this. This is the Elgato Cam Link Pro, and by the way, there it is on the second monitor that I'm recording. Now that I have this freaking capture card working, but not as Elgato intended it to be. Let me tell you about my absolute struggles, how I went through 4 different PCs, 4 different motherboards, 4 graphics cards, a complete wipe of Windows multiple times just to get the Cam Link Pro to actually work. And if you're a person stumbling upon whether your Cam Link Pro or your 4K 60 Pro is not working, I bet you I have the solution because I've done it all. Let's get into the video after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Lightstream. Lightstream is a cloud-based streaming service where you can stream directly from your console to Lightstream, and then they will re-encode your stream with professional overlays. Things like Stream Elements, Rainmaker.gg, a whole bunch of things like videos and graphics you can put onto your stream and never have to use a streaming PC to do these things. Right now, you can get 25% off your first 3 months by using my coupon code Darkened Cyrus. So make sure you go ahead and visit the link in the description to go ahead and order this, and thank you to Lightstream for sponsoring this video. This guy recorded that whole video in front of the SM7B thinking that that was the audio that was being captured. It wasn't. It's my little ploof microphone up here. The audio quality is not the SM7B, but I look like a dingus the whole time with it in front of me. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it in. I'm gonna leave it in. As a person who makes budget-minded content for creators, things like these are the cheaper options for you to use, I want to make sure that my life is easy when I make content. And unfortunately, sometimes that comes down to the more expensive products. And in this case, the Cam Link Pro was something that really enticed me. And I said, this is going to solve a problem. Right now, I had 3 capture cards going into my PC, and I was overloading the USB controller. It was crazy trying to capture this camera, and the Xbox. Not to mention, if I wanted to add anything else, I was limited, and it was just not the best experience. So I said, you know what, I'll get this, I'll throw it into something that I know I have a by 16 lane, etc. It'll work just fine. So the Cam Link Pro is actually what's recording this video, so I can't pull it out, but I do have the 4K 60 Pro. If you know what that is, it's a very similar interface. It still is a by 4 slot, and that's really important. I'm not going to try to go too technical, but I do want everyone to know why this isn't working. So if you don't know what the Cam Link Pro is, it basically has 4 capture cards on it, and you can plug in 4 HDMI sources, and they've recently done an update where you can actually do 1440p 60 capture on this from like your Xbox that could run 1440p 60, like a Series S or an X or whatever the case. This now can capture it. You can't pass it through, but it captures it. So it's really good for content creators, in my opinion, to be able to create the content, what I'm doing, like for Lightstream and for this channel. This was a no-brainer solution to a problem I was having, and I knew it was a bottleneck. So I'm just going to walk you through the series of events of what happened. Number 1, I had a capture PC, which is actually, which you might be able to see it right over there. My wife actually just started gaming, so I made her a gaming system. So the NZXT-H1 that's over there used to be my capture PC. And it had a, B550 ITX, bunch of capture cards. Now I was like, you know what, I'll build a small form factor. So to get started, I went ahead and built a small form factor PC specifically for this, and I'll put it up here. I did a stream about it. This is the Sama 01 case, and this was a fantastic build. It's gonna take forever to take this off. You're not gonna be able to see much in there, but it's empty. You wanna know why? The parts are somewhere else because it wouldn't work in this build. And what I did was I actually bought a B550 board with 2x16 slots to be able to work. Found out after getting it here that it was a by 1 slot for the 16. My mistake, it needs to be a by 4. So I was like, crap, that was a B550 board. There was no other B550 board that had a by 16 slot that was wired with a by 4. Okay, so step 2 was take my server take my server PC, which by the way, I'll just show it right here. This was my server. Yeah, obviously it's not in my server anymore. So this was my server PC. This is a Xeon E5 2697 V2, 12 cores, 24 threads, and it's got 3 full by 16 lanes, fully pinned, and obviously the Xeon has more than enough PCIe lanes to be able to do it. But it would not turn on with this. I put in the 4K 60 Pro, I put in the Elgato Cam Link. The system would not boot into Windows with either one of those Elgato cards into it. So what was deduced? I found one Reddit article where someone had a, Sandy Bridge Xeon, and they said they had a similar problem. It would not boot on a Sandy Bridge Xeon. So I had basically ripped my server apart, put my whole NAS on a completely different system over there in the corner for no reason. And now I just have a 12-core Xeon, which is supposed to be running all of my services, that's not, because I decided to give this a shot as my capture PC, because I had it here. Now I feel stupid. So I was like, okay, let's buy a B550 board that has a x16 slot, because that's what this is. I'll show the 4K 60 Pro right here. As you can see at the bottom, that is a longer end than what a normal graphics card is here. For example, here's a graphics card, right? You can see the by 16 lane at the bottom is really long. And then you can see right here, that's a by 4. So it's a lot smaller than a by 16, but it needs to slot in that because it needs the 4. Blah, blah, blah. It was a lot of explanation to say. I needed it to be a by 4 slot. So I found a motherboard, which is a B550 MSI Pro. Anyway, it's got a full by 16 slot for a graphics card, and it also has a by 16 slot that's pinned for a by 4, which is what the freaking Cam Link Pro needs. And then it didn't work. I got stutters. It would I would hit record, and then all of a sudden the frame rate would drop in the recording. I couldn't have 2 sources on from the Cam Link Pro at a time. I didn't even have anything in HDMI 1, which is what a lot of people have had the problem with. I literally had no clue what was happening. I reinstalled I reinstalled the 4K capture utility. I did all the drivers. I did firmware updates. I reinstalled graphics card drivers. I went through 4 graphics cards. 4. This is an RX 580. I was like, well, why don't we try AMD? So we went to the RX 580. I was like, okay, maybe I need something the latest gen for whatever reason. I pulled an RX 6600 XT that's out of that system, her system now, put it in that rig, right? Nothing, didn't fix it. I was like, okay, let's go a little, let's go power, but NVIDIA. Let's go the GTX 1070. Because I was like, okay, there's power here. It's still Pascal, but it'll work. Yeah, no luck. And then I put the original graphics card back in, which is a GTX 1650 Super. And you're like, oh, that's not a very powerful card. No, but it has a Turing encoder on it, which is a great encoder, which is what I need to do this. No luck. 4 graphics cards. I'd been through 4 motherboards because I was like ITX, then the server board, the other B550 board, and then now the B550 that's in here, the full ATX board. 4 boards. All of that just to get to the point of it didn't work. So what did I do? I sent the freaking thing back. I was like, I have to have a defective unit. And before I sent it back, guess who I called? I called Elgato support. So I get on the phone with Elgato support. I sit on the phone. It was probably 30 minutes, an hour, right? No answer. Nothing. And then they were like, please wait for a person. So I waited and waited and waited until it finally kicked me to a voicemail machine and said, we're not available. Please leave your voice message. I did that. Guess who didn't call me back? Elgato support. So I returned it. Got a new one today. Today it came in, threw it in the capture PC, and guess what? It didn't work. It was the same freaking problems. Nothing was working. I was bashing my head I was like, now I've been through Elgato support, which wasn't any help. I've literally got a separate product. I rolled the product out. I was like, obviously it has to be something else. Found the culprit. Do you want to know how stupid this was? Here, I'll tell you. On the back of this, it says that it needs a PCIe by 4 slot. A by 4 slot. Which means that it has to be either pinned for this, or it needs to be like a by 16 slot or a by 8 that's at least pinned for a 4. Okay? That's what they describe. That's what's on their website. Everything. And that's what it had. So what did I do? I actually took my graphics card out and moved it into the slower by 4 slot further down the board. And I was like, obviously I'm not going to lose that much. It's just a 1650 Super. Moved it down to the bottom. Put the 4K or whatever, the Camlink Pro, to the graphics card slot, which was a full-fledged by 16 pin slot. Right? I think it's even running Gen 5, or not Gen 5, excuse me, PCIe Gen 4 right now. And guess what? It works. It works. Yes, I confirmed that it was in Gen 4. I could check on the motherboard. Yes, I confirmed it was even running Gen 3 when it only requires Gen 2 PCIe. If I can tell you how upset I was, this was an experience that I did not anticipate that I was going to have, number one. But number two, I was not ready to go through all of this. And now I've got a graphics card that is, only running on a by 4 slot just for the Camlink Pro to work. I can't be the only person who has this issue. And in that same case, the truth is, even if I went and got an X570 board, which had a PCIe 4.0 by 16 lane, but it was by 4 lower slot, I don't think it would have mattered. I really don't. So if the requirements that you're requiring Elgato, I went through everything. Different CPU. I changed out a different Ryzen CPU. I changed out memory. I changed out a cooler. I redid paste. Not that that really mattered, but I was like, you know what? For whatever stupid reason, because I was changing the CPU, I was like, let's try a different cooler. I know it wasn't going to matter, but it was going to be something I tried. I thought maybe it was overheating. So I took a fan, put it under the capture card, right? The Camlink Pro, and turned it on 100%. Just so it would shoot air at it. I was like, maybe I just need to cool it down. That thing was cool, very cold, and yet nothing. So, Elgato, I own a ridiculous amount of your products. That means nothing, nor should I have favored treatment, nothing like that. But I do want to work with you. Let me just say that, by the way. Just FYI, I've put in that sponsorship application a whole bunch of times, and I literally make content about capture cards and stuff. Like, what's up? But, the truth is, the experience that I had was very hard for me to be able to say, like, yeah, you should go buy the Camlink Pro. Because in the situation I had with multiple PCs, multiple graphics cards, and everything, I was able to troubleshoot that. I don't know if the average consumer could do that. And I might have gotten 2 duds in a row. What's the chance? I don't know, but it's running just fine. Obviously, look at this. Look, this is in the top slot. Look at all the stuff that you can see, by the way. I'll zoom out so you can see where it shows all 4, where I'm just cropping in. It's recording 4K 60 right now, and I'm just cropping in 1080p. Elgato, this is a struggle, and I'm really... this was hard because I was going to make a thing about how the Camlink Pro changed my, whole setup, because I just assumed it would just change things. And probably moving forward, it's going to completely make my flow easier, my editor's flow easier, let's be honest. But this was a struggle. So Elgato, if you're watching this video, check your tickets and give me a call. Let me tell you all the steps I went through to get it there. Or if it is that I have a defective product, or if I did something wrong, somebody tell me in the comments. I've been through every hardware piece. I've done every software piece, graphics drivers, older versions of graphics, older versions of firmware, older versions of 4K, even using it without 4K capture utility installed. All of them. I just can't. So Elgato, I love you. Okay, you've changed how I do content. Wave XLR, 2 different Stream Decks, the Stream Deck Plus, all of the capture cards, HD60S, HD60 Pro, the 4K 60 Pro, the Cam Link Pro, the Cam Link 4K. I have all of that stuff because I think your product does make life a little easier when you need it to be. But this one, I think I'm gonna learn to absolutely love this. But right now I hate it. And I hate it because it was so difficult. All right, that's me. I'm done with my rant. Elgato, thank you. I love you. If you oh, call me. Let's have a chat. Let's see how I can help or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks, guys. Bye.